Happy second council meeting of the month. Good to see everybody here, everybody staying safe. If I could get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer by our clerk treasurer, Marla Ayler.
Gracious and loving God, we gather this evening mindful of our responsibility to serve this community with care, integrity, and humility. We thank you for your protection over our city during the recent winter storm, and we ask for your continued covering over our residents and all who are traveling tonight. We are especially grateful for those who serve in public safety and public works for their readiness, endurance, and commitment during difficult and often unseen moments. Please protect them, strengthen them, and bless their families as they continue to serve our community. As this council begins its work, grant us wisdom, patience, and discernment. May our conversations be respectful, our decisions thoughtful, and our actions guided by a genuine desire to do what is right for those we serve. We offer this prayer with gratitude and trust. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Marla. That was nice. President Tam, would you like to run the meeting, please?
Thank you. Thank you also to Marla for a great prayer as well. Appreciate that. Can we note the presence of a quorum?
John Dart.
Here.
Joe Deppner.
Here.
Noah Herron.
Here.
Chad Huff.
Here.
Victor McCarty.
Here.
Patrick Tam.
Here.
And Kurt Waninger.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The next order of business is approval of minutes from our previous council meeting. Assuming everyone's had the chance to review those, we need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from 1/12/26.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Kurt Waninger.
Yes.
John Dart.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Our next order of business is the approval of the claims. Assuming everyone's had the opportunity to review this, we need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve the claims?
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor McCarty, seconded by Councilor Waniger. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Kurt Waninger.
Yes.
John Dart.
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
We do have one item for change to the agenda. I did want to make sure that the record notes in our minutes that in addition to Councilor McCarty continuing to serve on the APC, we've also appointed Councilor Waniger to the Area Plan Commission as well. I do not believe there's any other items on the changes to the agenda this evening. Do we have residents that wish to address the council this evening?
I don't think the special recognition is happening tonight. I don't know if you have to state that.
Oh, Mayor, are we not doing that this evening?
No, because the school was canceled, we don't want to involve high school kids in our city meeting. So both the youth council and special recognition, which was a high school kid, we're going to push that to the first meeting in February.
Well, on behalf of a dad, I know my daughter and her girlfriend seem to be just fine doing sleepovers tonight. So, we'll deal with that. Thank you. But
We do have one card.
Chris, thank you.
Bill Koss.
Thank you, Mr. Koss.
Westfield city officials and council members, upon exiting the Constitutional Convention in 1787, Benjamin Franklin famously said to someone who asked him, "What do we have, Ben?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." This response highlighted that the new American government was not guaranteed, but rather depended on active citizen involvement, vigilance, and the preservation of laws over tyranny. The definition of a republic is a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. This is different from a democracy, which is the majority rules. Let us not follow the sanctuary city of Minneapolis. And as Abraham Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address on November 1863, 4 months after the Battle of Gettysburg, 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. We must not allow corruption, greed, or graft to overtake our community. We must remain vigilant. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Koss. We're going to move to old business this evening, which is ordinance 2581, which is the Harmony PUD Amendment 3. We have, I believe, online. Do we have online this evening, Lauren Gillingham Teague?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, President Tam, members of the council. For the record, Lauren Gillingham Teague with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is the adoption consideration for an amendment to the Harmony Plan Unit Development District, as shown on the screen. The subject real estate is approximately 5 acres in size, roughly located at the northwest, on the northwest side of 146 in Ditch, right in the middle of the Harmony mixed-use district. As proposed, the ordinance would allow for the development of Village Cooperative at Harmony, a senior housing cooperative for independent adults age 62 and older. The building will be accessed through existing substreets, will have a heated underground parking garage for residents, and will have amenities, including a community garden and outdoor fireplace area. As proposed, the PUD requires substantial conformity to the included architectural elevation, site plan, and landscape plan. The item was introduced to the council back in November and received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission earlier this month. A neighborhood meeting was held and staff has received 2 comments on this item, which were included in the exhibit as the public comment exhibit. The petitioner does not plan to provide a presentation. However, we are both available for questions should they arise. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion this evening?
Hey, Lauren, could you share what those comments were? You said there were only 2 comments, is that correct?
Yes, so they should be on the agenda as the second to last, yet public comments. We had one in favor from somebody who lives outside Westfield and was excited to become a resident. And then another who lived in the area currently and felt commercial would be a better use.
Better, okay. Thank you.
So don't usually get both sides.
Mm-hmm. Was there a neighborhood discussion as well?
There was.
Yes, and neighborhood meeting was held back in November. John can probably speak on that if he's in the
Yeah, how
audience.
did that go?
I was not in attendance. I had a prior engagement, but I heard it went pretty well.
Lauren, we have John here as well. John, if you could, you know what to do.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for the record, John Dabashay with Nelson Frankenberger. We represent the applicant, Real Estate Equities Development. With us here this evening is Shane Wright and Jim Schoenemer with our office. We did have a neighborhood meeting, and one of the people who attended was a board member of the HOA for Harmony, the residential area to the north. He indicated that he had taken good notes, that he didn't have any issues with the request, but that he would provide those notes to the HOA, and neither the Plan Commission nor do I believe the council received any additional communication from the HOA of Harmony.
Patrick, that's your district. Did you receive any communication?
No, actually, I received positive comments from the HOA, and I've been on the phone with the HOA since a certain weather event has hit us pretty frequently, as John Nail, I think, is in the audience, knows as well. So, yes, Dave have been relatively positive as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions this evening or discussion? This is eligible for adoption this evening. As a matter of old business, we would need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 25-81.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor McCarty, seconded by Councilor Waniger. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Chad Huff,
No.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger,
Yes.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1.
Thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you. The next order of business is ordinance 2582, which is amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance LPH Community PUD District. We have Mr. Crabtree.
Yeah, President Tam, this is Kevin Todd filling in for Dane this evening. Let me get my screen situated here. So thank you, Council, for the record. Kevin Todd, Community Development Department. This item before you this evening for consideration is the LPH Community PUD. As you may recall, this ordinance proposes a general business underlying PUD on the east side of East Street, north of 196th Street, across from the future community hospital, with the primary focus being to permit a rehabilitation hospital, which is defined within the PUD ordinance. This item was introduced at City Council at your November 24th meeting. It received a public hearing at the Plan Commission's December 1st meeting and received a unanimous favorable recommendation at the Plan Commission's January 24th meeting. I don't know if he's in the audience or not. Addison Bradford with Hall Render, I believe, is supposed to be present this evening on behalf of the petitioner in the event there are any questions. I don't see him online, so I don't know if he's in the room.
He's in the
Thank you,
room.
Kevin. He is here. Yes.
Perfect.
Mr. Bradford, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hi, Addison Bradford with Hall Render, Killian Heath, and Lyman, representing the applicant here, LifePoint Health. Also online virtually with us tonight is Joe Caesar, who's the Director of Real Estate for Community Health Network. Just wanted to make a couple of points based off questions we've received in the last week or two about it. About the planned inpatient behavioral facility at the site, the first of which revolves around security. Community Hospital Westfield will maintain its own security force for this campus, which would include both the acute care hospital that it's building as well as the behavioral health facility, which will have 15 officers providing 24-hour coverage for this campus at a cost of approximately $2 to $3 million to community each year. Another question we received is about the patient population, and the majority of patients admitted to the behavioral health facility are patients that have been referred from the emergency department at the community hospital Westfield across the street. So the majority of the patients at this facility will be people who are coming to that hospital first and are referred to additional care there. And as to those patients, the average length of stay is 7 to 10 days. To the extent that a patient needs more services, they need additional services, maybe they need to be transferred to a residential lodge, they would be transferred to a 60-day, a 90-day, or maybe more permanent residential facility. This is intended to be a short-term facility to meet a specific inpatient need. And then the last point I also want to reiterate is that there are no development incentives being sought for this inpatient rehab facility, and it would be a fully taxable project that is not a part of the pilot agreement for the adjacent hospital. Appreciate your consideration and happy to answer any additional questions.
Any questions this evening discussion?
I've got a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned 15 officers. How many of those officers are on duty at any given time? Do you know that?
Jeff, do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, we don't have the full schedule yet, but it's probably around 3 per shift.
Okay. There was some discussion that council had that, and I think mayor as well, of maybe trying to get a little bit more time, and you guys wanted to bring this project forward. And one of those questions that I think some of us had were, I think we can all get on board with like mental health and everything like that. The direction in which patients are coming from and who we're serving and from what different parts of the state. Is there a geographical map that you guys have intentions on serving patients at this facility?
I don't know if there is an exact map available. I can tell you that because there aren't any inpatient facilities within Hamilton County, that's what's driving this development. There are, let's say in Marion County, there are 8 inpatient behavioral health facilities. So there's availability to local resources there. But in Hamilton County, folks will have to travel outside the county to be able to receive that care. And that just creates another barrier and roadblock for them ultimately receiving that treatment.
I get that. But is there a facility like this in Kokomo right now?
I don't believe there is an inpatient behavioral health facility in Kokomo. But again, the majority of patients are initially coming to the emergency department at Community Hospital Westfield and then being transferred from that hospital to the adjacent facility. So it's not to say there might not be. Maybe there is one patient down the line that's from Kokomo, but the majority are the people that are first coming to their local hospital, Community Hospital Westfield, for treatment.
Are patients from Ascension or Riverview also accepted into this facility?
Jeff, do you know the answer to that question?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, if we're serving Hamilton County, that would make sense. And I know this is a partnership with community, but you've only mentioned community. That's why I asked the question.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
And how many bed is in these facilities, or I guess it would be just the south building?
I'm sorry.
How many beds?
Yeah, for this specific facility, 120 are planned.
120. Okay. And you said about 7 to 10 days average stay?
That's the average stay, correct.
Do you have a limitation of when they have to move out, or?
There isn't a hard line limit, but again, more likely they would be transferred to a 60-day or a 90-day facility. Certainly, they're not going to release anyone that poses a safety hazard to themselves, to other people in the community. They wouldn't do that, but this is not a facility that really is where the treatment of care is for a longer-term basis. They would be transferred out to another facility in most likelihood.
Do you have an example? Do you have an example of where another facility is that would take them beyond that 7 to 10 day period? I'm not familiar with it. So is it in Marion County? Is it somewhere else in the state?
Yeah, I think they would be transferred to a residential lodge. Joe, or not Joe, excuse me. Jeff, do you know off the top of your head if community operates any in Hamilton County?
No, community does not operate any of those types of facilities in Hamilton County.
Are you aware of anybody that does? Or I know you're representing community here, but I'm just curious where these patients would go after their 7 to 10 day stay if they're recommended to have additional assistance.
We can certainly produce a list. I just don't know off the top of my head, quite frankly.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just going to add some context to this. I don't normally do this because I'm not voting on it. I don't know how council is going to vote on this, but I guess what I would throw in there is this process has been extremely disappointing. I've asked you guys for references. I've asked you guys for information, data, and I got nothing. So I had to go out and make some calls myself to figure out where's LifePoint operating and what can I find out from other communities. If this passes, I hope that you guys will be more collaborative in this community than you have been so far, because this is an incredibly tough decision to make. Yes, we need behavioral health in this community. We need it desperately. But with these facilities come real problems too. And the kind of data that I tried to get from you to determine what kinds of problems it was going to create, you guys kept putting up roadblocks. And every time I asked, well, can we delay this to get more information, you guys refused. So I don't know how council is going to vote for it. I'm very disappointed in how this process has gone. You put this council in a very difficult position to make a very important decision for our community with not a lot of data. And with that, I'll shut up.
Just out of curiosity, who actually physically will do the transfers?
Who will actually?
So once the patient is then being transferred to another facility, wherever that is, who physically handles that transfer? Who's transporting the patient?
Yeah, I believe that they would hire a emergency EMT service, or EMT, excuse me, not EMT. Jeff, is that correct?
We actually have transfer ambulances that we use across the network if we have to transfer patients between facilities. So that's an option as well. So I don't think we're going to have to be hiring an outside service to do that. We've got transfer ambulances that are used for those purposes.
The reason why I ask is, I mean, a lot of our EMT runs from our fire department are going to assisted living facilities. I mean, a pretty healthy, almost darn near majority. So just trying to ascertain if our fire department is going to be called upon. You know, it's fine when those things happen, but if suddenly we see a huge spike where our fire department services are going to be utilized for that's pretty significant cost to us. Where we've had some concerns, we've addressed some concerns with our assisted living facilities in the community as well, just because they tie up our firefighters so consistently. So that reason for my question, just to give you some insight into it. Mm-hmm. Any other questions this evening? Seeing none. John, I can't see you right now, but do you have any additional questions?
No, I do not. We met with, Victor and I met with the team from Community and as well as LifePoint, and they answered all of our questions about a week ago.
This item is eligible for adoption this evening. We need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Dart, second by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
No.
Kurt Wanninger,
No.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
No.
Chad Huff.
No.
Motion does not pass 3-4.
Thank you. Our next order of business is ordinance 2602, which is the Westfield, Washington Schools PUD amendment. We have Ryan Collingwood this evening.
Yes, thank you, President. City Council members, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department virtually this evening. The item before you is for adoption and consideration this evening is a proposed amendment to the Westfield, Washington Schools Planning Development District. The amended real estate comprises approximately 97 acres and is generally located northeast of the intersection at State Road 32 and Centennial Road, seen on the location map on the screen. The amendment request is to modify the landscaping regulations of the PUD, as a new landscape plan will now control the development. Additional real estate is also being added into the PUD district, as well as updating the concept plan with a more finalized layout as site work has progressed. The item received a public hearing at the January 14th Advisory Plan Commission meeting, where the workshop requirement was waived and a 7-0 positive recommendation was provided by the APC. Jack Whitstead of Churchill and Antrim is present this evening and is available for questions regarding the item's adoption consideration, but he's not planning on making a presentation this evening. We are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion this evening? Seeing none, this is pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, we don't hear from Mr. Whitsid again. I think it may have been his first council meeting he appeared in front of us. We're hoping for a repeat, but, you know, that's fair. Seeing no discussion, this ordinance is eligible for adoption this evening. Need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2602 for the Westfield, Washington School PUD amendment.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, second by Councilor Huff. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger,
Yes.
John Dart,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We have an introduction this evening for new business, which is the ordinance 2603, which is the built PUD. We have Ms. Lauren Gillingham-Teague online.
Thank you, Presidents, members of the council. For the record, I'm still Lauren Gillingham-Teague with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is the introduction of the built PUD, which is located on the southwest corner of 32 and Gray Road, north of the Midland Trace Trail. Oh wait, it pulls up here. Right there. So the subject real estate is just under 11 acres in size for both Area A and Area B. As proposed, the ordinance would allow for the development of makerspace business suites on the northwest half of the site, while leaving the remainder for future trail-oriented commercial development. As proposed, the PUD requires Area A to be developed in substantial conformity with the architectural elevation, site plan, and landscape plan in the PUD, while Area B is required to come back to the council for review prior to any future development. A public hearing will be held at the upcoming Plan Commission meeting, and staff has not received any comments on this item. Petitioner is here this evening and may provide a presentation. We're both available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to clarify something. She might have just missed it, but Section 5 says for Area B, there's about 6 or 7 permitted uses. But other than that, they'd have to come back to, is that right? Okay.
That is correct. So as of now, it outlines some permitted uses just so we're not starting from zero. Should this come back in 2 years, potentially under a different looking council or planning commission, we didn't want to have the should it be townhomes conversation again, but happy to remove those if,
No,
if that's
I'm fine with those permitted uses.
what you'd like.
for now.
Lauren, you and I spoke about this today, so hopefully there's time to address this again. I brought this concern or comment up with the developer when I met last month. So first of all, I want to state that I'm excited about this PUD. I think it helps small to medium-sized businesses expand, grow, and hopefully stay in Westfield. And as we know, that's the purpose of this space, is to encourage businesses to be here. But I believe the way that the PUD is written, if I personally chose to lease a space and park my boat or my car or any other equipment in there and not have a business, I could do that. And I'm encouraging us to take a serious look at how this is written and not allow this to be storage facility for boats and campers and everything else. We want businesses to be in these spaces. And I think the way the PUD is written, it opens up that door for that. And again, we're trying to encourage businesses to grow and expand in Westfield and not create this storage space. If they want to store cars and boats and stuff, we need to send them over to the motor district or somewhere else. But per our discussion today, I think it still opens that door for that, correct?
As of now, yes. I passed the comment on to the applicant, and we will be addressing that before it comes back to you for adoption consideration.
John, this is Joe. Wouldn't just the price of the rent per the square footage probably eliminate that usage, I would think? I mean...
No, because the motor district, if you go to the motor district, you're going to spend $200,000 for a garage. I don't know what the rent is. It could be $1,500 to $2,000 a month. That's significantly less than it would be over at the motor district. Space to keep vehicles, boats, motorhomes is scarce and it's expensive. And if this space is priced right, which I hope it is, for businesses, it could easily be priced decent for somebody who's got the money to store a vehicle or something like that. So people looking for that type of space is crazy. And I could form an LLC and say this is John Dart LLC. It would be listed as a business, but no business would be conducted out of there if I'm parking vehicles in there. And so I just want to make sure that we are protecting businesses that we want in the community.
Thank you, John.
Go ahead. I mean, what is the petitioner's position on some kind of amending language to add what John is saying for no storage?
Well, when we met a month ago, he didn't have a position. He understood the comment.
Hey, John, their attorney's here getting ready to speak, so our attorney or representative, so give her a chance to address it.
Yep.
No, he can't.
Thank you, Councilman Dart. We did hear from Lauren Gillingham-Teague this afternoon, and we heard your comment from our meeting. We are intending to work with planning to narrow the PUD language to serve that business use for the maker space. I think there's a few creative ways we could make sure that language gets in there that will still serve the business purposes for the maker space, but actively engage the space to reach your goal.
Can you please identify yourself for the record?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
I know this was kind of a free-flowing conversation, but let's back up to that.
Happy to do so. Lisa Claghorn, Church, Hiddle, and Antrim. I represent Built LLC along with Matt Skelton and Jack Witzik of Church, Hiddle, and Antrim, with offices at 116th Union Street.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Could there be a possibility that like a small mechanic might use one of these spaces? I mean, I don't know if that's a good or bad. I'm just trying to think now that John said that, like just maybe uses that don't fit in there that we should think of now. I mean, that might create noise, I guess, or something. And I don't know if that's something you guys have had happen at your other place or other location, but that might be something to look at as well.
I don't think there's any outdoor storage allowed,
No.
which would make mechanics really difficult.
Well, they could probably store
one at a time, maybe, yeah. That's probably not a very good business model, but
No.
I think that would probably rule itself out. But yeah, I agree with Councilor Heron on that.
And we appreciate that comment. If the council wouldn't mind, I do have a presentation we could run through just quickly.
That'd be great.
Lauren did a great job of giving the higher points. As she stated, the project is just off of 32 South on Gray Road on the west side of the road. This evening, we're presenting plans specifically for the northwestern portion, as pictured on the screen. The use for the proposed project, as we briefly touched on, the use for the proposed project will be a commercial makerspace facility, and that's designed to support entrepreneurship, workforce training, small-scale fabrication. The intent is to provide workspaces for small business owners, creating a flexible environment that encourages innovation and scalability while strengthening the local economy. Architecturally, the built team worked with the city staff to create buildings that reflect contemporary character appropriate to the makerspace environment. We are utilizing durable materials, appropriate building scale, and compliant lighting and signage standards. Our hope is to ensure the project contributes positively to the corridor's visual character. Southeastern area will be designed and approved through a future amendment to the built PUD ordinance. I've noted Councilman Heron and Councilman Dart's comments with respect to the specifying the use, and we do understand that sensitivity, and as Lauren stated, we intend on working through that language to make sure that both those items of concern are addressed prior to seeing you again. But we're here to answer any other questions if you have them.
A couple of infrastructure questions. First, the improvements along Gray Road, will both entrances be built at the same time with this project?
That is the intent.
Okay. Multi-use path all the way down to the Midland, because right now it's showing it about 10 feet short.
It's pretty good eyes, Kurt. I need to put these on.
Maybe 12.
So I believe that is our actual property line.
I'm sure with an agreement with the city, you can make connection to the trail.
Absolutely.
Right, Scott? Okay. Okay. And it's got passing blisters, or her turn lanes for safety. Okay. Where is retention on this property?
Our retention will be subsurface. We are working with Hamilton County. There's a fair amount of reconstruction that we need to do kind of upstream. So we are working through that with them, but Hamilton County has indicated that we would be able to encapsulate the drainage.
And I assume all the sewer and water is coming from the west side.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Lisa, could you share the landscaping plan along the Midland? Because I think that's critical once that second building is ultimately constructed, and how it's going to protect it. Yeah, it was really, I think maybe it's just the wording, but there was the use of the word snow fence. Snow fence, I'm not sure if that's a permanent thing or if it's a temporary thing, but snow fence is not considered very durable or attractive. So maybe a little explanation on the plans for the landscape.
So the planning for the landscaping, as you've seen it in the PUD, is roughly all of the buffer areas, and we have left the trees that are there to the extent that we have identified everything that is out there. We haven't gotten to the new materials yet, but the plan that you have is keeping the trees that are there, maintaining what is currently along the Midland, and enhancing that with our projects. So I will look into the snow fence. I don't believe it was meant to be permanent. I believe that was meant to be a feature that if needed, could be used to make sure that that area stays clear of snow. I will check with just during
Yeah, I
construction.
didn't,
Okay.
Similar to
Yeah, I
kind of
didn't
an
understand.
erosion control fencing that would be elevated above the surface just so that you could see the erosion control material itself.
And the city's preference would be, sorry, Councilor Dart, I didn't mean to cut you off, would be to leave the trail as is for now. As we talked, and the reason we asked them not to bring a concept for that the southeastern corner of the triangle is because we want a development that interacts with the trail. And you'll hear Janelle talk about trail connectivity all the time. So until we know what that looks like, really changing the dynamics along the Midland is something we do not want to do. And we just want to leave it as is until a future project comes to the city. So I would ask the council that as you work through this, to hold that accountable. We don't want to take trees down for sure, and we don't want to ask the developer to spend money on something that may not be appropriate when a new development comes.
I agree with that. And that was going to be my question is, I think we had a discussion, is there language in this PUD that specifically says what the mayor just indicated?
Yes, it does. And I will state for John's benefit, I think that might have been added after we actually met with you, so I apologize for not circling back with you on those details. But to the mayor's point, this PUD in front of you tonight has future approvals for the southeastern portion with respect to concept plan, architecture, and landscaping. The purpose of our landscaping plan for the northwestern portion, including these trees, is to prove the idea of retention of those trees and that we would not be intending to disturb or clear cut them off of the Midland. There's also a fair amount of conversation going on with other stakeholders in the area. Duke Energy has a transmission line that has been storied to be impacting this area, as well as a few different designs that have been circulated for that. So we've engaged with Duke to try and understand how that might impact that southeastern area as well, with respect to the landscaping that you're describing. But again, tonight's focus was the intent was for the northwestern portion, and this landscaping plan was intended to indicate a maintenance of that Midland Trace tree line as it exists today, and an enhancement of that, if anything, not a clear cut.
And I understand that that's the intent, and I have no reason to doubt that, but you don't have to do it right now, but just could you email me the language that shows that's protecting that Midland Trail?
Absolutely. And it does appear in 3 separate places. It has to do with a concept plan. It also impacts the architecture and the landscaping plan. So we did work with planning and after the mayor's direction to get those 3 elements, that every single one of them would be readdressed in an amendment to the PUD in the future.
You just send me that, show.
Absolutely.
Go back to the overview when, after you get done making that note. Yeah. And just remind me, the property to the west, is that Whitmore owns that property?
Yes, sir.
Have you had discussions with them regarding the stub streets?
Not at this time. The request is just to have connectivity.
Have connectivity.
Hey, Kurt, I believe that's the project that we've shown you guys that you've weighed in kind of initially on your thoughts. But I believe that is the parcel directly to the west. I could be wrong, but I think it is.
No, it's on the other side of Bond.
Is it on the other side?
It's just
Yeah,
a
it's
little bit
over
more to
further.
the west.
It's over by Freeman Dentistry.
Yeah, I think it's both though, is it not?
No.
Because it's a pretty massive.
There's that apartment complex in between there with the big white buildings. Okay.
What I
Or
will share
townhomes.
about excuse me, I'm sorry.
No,
What I
you're
will
okay.
share about the association between the 2 parcels, our seller is the son of the owner to the west, so there is a close connection there. We have not determined anything other than that connectivity to the west, as you see it pictured.
What's the building setback on the west property line?
It's so tiny. It includes both the landscape buffer and the building setback. I believe it is 40 feet. It's more than 40 feet. So the first line you see, and then it's an additional 30 behind that.
So 70 feet setback?
Scroll up just a little bit. No, you're okay. It's 50 feet in total.
50 feet in total.
But it does include both the building setback line and the standard buffer for the agricultural use to our west. And in your tiered system, that's one of the higher buffer areas, I believe.
And when you're looking at the landscaping stuff that we've talked about already, there's a berm, a 4-foot tall berm. I just want to double check with landscaping and engineering that like down the road doesn't have to take down any trees eventually or anything like that.
Absolutely.
What's the restrictions going to be on that on those parking spaces along the main drive coming in? I assume this will be a private road. Will there be any restrictions on overnight parking, my parking semis there, or food trucks or other things like that?
Yes, so there will be restrictions within our covenants. And to your point about larger vehicles, so these projects exist right now in Marion County and in Zionsville, and there's about a 40 trip count for the entire area, and the likelihood of lots of semi-trucks. There are no loading docks here, so the idea of that would be not conducive to our particular makerspace use, but I do acknowledge that would be something that we would want to make sure that our users are allowed to park where they need to park, which is shown here.
Well, like John Dart said, I appreciate the concept and trying to fit this into this lovely triangle piece of property, and I hope it'll, bring businesses, small businesses to our community that can grow.
Any other questions, comments this evening? Councilor Dart?
Nope. Thank you very much. I agree with the comments made by the mayor and, of course, Lisa, that a landscaping plan is in place along the Midland when appropriate.
Thank you. Ms. Claren, I think even what Councilor Dart said, to start off with, the council overwhelmingly supports the concept to support and grow Westfield businesses. There's obviously a significant gap for our small businesses here in Westfield for this type of space. I do think, though, the council continues to express just taking a look at the language on permissible uses and really just tightening that up to make sure there are certain things that I don't think your client is interested in doing or supporting, but just making sure that's written out just so we have that comfort level as we potentially move forward with the project. And we do appreciate this effort because this parcel is challenging. And we appreciate you working with us and talking to us very early on, and greatly appreciate that.
We appreciate the support and understand the concerns about the permissible uses. We'll work with you as well as the city staff to make sure that we're addressing those issues in the particular language.
Lauren's had to deal with this before, so she's pretty good at that.
We appreciate her, for sure.
Well, thank you. See no other, we'll be moving through the process of the APC next, and we look forward to seeing it come back.
Thank you so much.
Councilor McCarty, do you have a APC update?
Yeah, just real quickly, we did have 2 meetings since the last council meeting. On our consent agenda, 114 was a new orthodontist coming to town, and then our items of business were items that we handled this evening as well, voted on this evening, I should say. And then at our last meeting, 120, our 2 workshop items were the new siding ordinance and then also Ironstone. So that is all thus far. Thank you.
Any other comments this evening from council? I do want to reiterate, I think our city clerk, Marla Ayler, did an excellent job making sure that people realize that the city doesn't shut down, particularly our public safety and our public works department. I know that many of us want perfect streets within seconds of a huge snowfall, and our folks work awfully hard to do so. And we do appreciate their fine work throughout this process. Mayor?
Yeah, I got a few things this evening. First off, I want to congratulate our Public Works Department for an amazing job. I mean, this is, I don't know, probably mid-70s since we've seen this kind of snowfall in Westfield, and I thought they handled themselves magnificently. We have staff members who are here remotely tonight because they couldn't get out of their neighborhoods. In sister cities, we won't drop any dimes, but I can tell you with pretty much confidence that you can get out of our neighborhoods in Westfield, and they did a fantastic job. So, John, please make sure Justin and his team know we really appreciate it. Also, H&N, a new contractor that's handling the neighborhoods. Typically, we farmed that out to a few different companies. H&N has it all to themselves, and I thought they did an excellent job as well. Had a few cul-de-sacs missed, but within the first 24 hours, every neighborhood had been hit. And like I said, I'm pretty confident you can get out of 99.9% of our neighborhoods right now, which is a good thing. And then also to public safety, they made, obviously in this kind of weather conditions, more runs in challenging environments. And as always, they rose to the occasion, so I want to thank them as well. Next, HB 1001. I know we're getting a lot of comments about it. I know, Council, you guys have had a lot of concerns. It's going to get out of the House. It's gotten better. We're not quite there yet, in my opinion, of what we need to at least, I don't know what the best word to say, but to survive the bill. I will say that regardless how much better they make, I think it's a huge overreach for the state to get involved in local zoning. But we'll see where this goes once it gets into the Senate. Trash collection, I did hear back from Waste Management late this afternoon. They will be back in the swing of things tomorrow. And so we're one day behind. So if you're supposed to have your trash picked up today, have it out tomorrow morning, it'll get picked up. But everybody will just be one day delayed as they get caught up through Saturday. And then also, lastly, city services will be open tomorrow. Everybody will be back in the office for the most part. And with that, that is it from my end.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. We are adjourned.